Welcome back to my channel. I'm James. Today we're going to be reviewing and deep diving into All Quiet on the Western Front, the new 4K Ultra HD release. Now this film is absolutely wonderful, and if you haven't checked out the film itself, it is one of those films you need to watch. But this was actually sent to me a full 2.5 weeks early for review, and I just want to say a big shout out and thank you to Capelight and MPI for sending this to me early for review. But as always, as most of you know that have watched my channel for many years now, just because something's sent to me early for review never changes my testing data, my exclusive review scores, or any of the information I share in any of these reviews are never affected because something was sent to me for review. But I do really appreciate the studios always sending these things to me early for review so that I can dive into these, do all of my analysis, and share with all of you to let you know if this is something worth buying and adding to your collection, or if it's something you should skip altogether. And let me tell you, there's a lot of interesting things I found out when I went through all of my testing on this. Now to start off with here, I'm going to show you the native 4K images that are pulled directly from the 4K Ultra HD disc in this set. Now as always, the native images you see above are always dumbed down from HDR10 or Dolby Vision by YouTube's algorithm to basic standard HDR. So basically what they do is if it's HDR10 or Dolby Vision, YouTube's algorithm takes that image, dumbs it down to basic standard HDR. And that's what you see above. So what you see of those images will only look better on your home professionally calibrated high-end display and 4K player. Now, if you want to know more details about what I mean when I say professionally calibrated and things like that, I've done hundreds of videos over the years here on this YouTube channel for you to check out. But it is something you need to look into if you haven't done it yet, is finding out what your color errors are that your TV is manufactured with, and then also looking at getting it professionally calibrated so that way you get the best native images from these that you see when you're watching these films. But I can tell you for this 4K Ultra HD release, it is a native 4K 2160p. Now this does come with Dolby Vision and HDR10 on it. Now a lot of times I get questions asking what's the variance between those, and I always share that in each of my videos. On this release, the 4K Ultra HD between the Dolby Vision and HDR10, you're looking at about a 5% difference, in Dolby Vision being the one up. It looked just a little bit better than the HDR10. But both were beautiful presentations, and I can't really say the HDR10 was a slouch because it looked really good and a lot better than what it did when it was on Netflix streaming service. And I'll get a little bit more to what I discovered when I was sitting watching them and then going into the Netflix streaming service to look at the differences between them later on in this video. But if you've experienced it on Netflix originally, you will notice a nice increase in details and depth in this image. But as far as between Dolby Vision and HDR10, Dolby Vision is the winner on this. It does just look about 5% better than the HDR10. And overall, the lights to darks really shine through great on this. There's numerous scenes where they're like sitting by campfires, and there's things like where it shows way off in the distance, there'll be things like explosions, the dark of night when there's fires, or basically flares being shot up in the sky, and you can really see it shine through great with both the Dolby Vision and HDR10. There wasn't any black crush I encountered when going through this either. That's something I always look for, that I always hope when a 4K is released it doesn't have it. Now, as a lot of you know, that there's been some recently I've tested and reviewed that did have some issues. Thankfully, this one is not one of those. There was no black crush where it got into that area. It just has a very nice inky black and brilliant white without drifting into black crush. Now, just like with this exclusive early review, studios reach out to me and send me things weeks early for review for me to dive in and test and analyze them for all of you here on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to go down there, give this video a like and a thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. I know there's thousands of you that watch my videos weekly that still haven't hit that subscribe button yet. You need to go down there so you never miss out on any of this earlier exclusive content. Go down there, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a like and hit the bell notification while you're at it too. Now this film came out in 2022 on Netflix, and it was a very well done film. It's gotten numerous awards and things like that, but I will say the thing that really stood out for me of what I loved about the film is the cinematography. And that is where in a 4K Ultra HD, if it's done properly with HDR, Dolby Vision, and so on, it can enhance that even more so. That is something I experienced with this 4K release that is a big change from when I watched it on Netflix originally. As most of you know, I don't like digital and streaming services, but this is one of those exceptions where I basically said, hey, I want to see the film so much. I didn't really think it was going to come out on 4K Ultra HD, even though when I did find out from the studio and they reached out to me to do an early review, I was really surprised and shocked. Now, I'm excited because I do feel like this is them kind of testing the waters to see if Netflix's releases on 4K sell well enough that we might see a lot more of these coming out here in the near future. But as far as this release goes, when I originally saw it, it definitely had some issues. It wasn't an amazing streaming service presentation. There was lots of things I noticed when I was watching it. Thankfully, those aren't present on this. Now, the only things negative I did encounter was when I was going through this, there was some very slight digital noise. Now, it's not horrible and most people will never ever notice it, but as a lot of you know, I'm very extremely picky when I go through and do my analysis and testing here. Especially when I'm going through the screenshots and pulling them off of the disc, I can see a lot more details and what kinds of things are present on it. There was some slight in some of the battle scenes in the top corners of the screens and lower bottoms. Just every once in a while, some very slight digital noise that was kind of going in with the film grain that's on this. Now, the film grain was nicely stable and filmic throughout it. I can't really say there was anything wrong with the film grain. It looked very nice throughout it, just some very slight fluctuations. It's just those slight, and I mean very slight, digital noises. About the only thing on the image presentation. But when I watched it originally on streaming through Netflix, I had numerous blocking, digital noise, there was banding, all sorts of issues with compression, and it just really wasn't an amazing presentation on Netflix. Now, that's always been the case because they dumb down their content with streaming services to compress it down, which is why I've always believed physical media is the ultimate way for cinephiles. If you want to experience something, whether you're watching it or listening to it, which I'll get to that in a minute here, but anytime you want to experience something, physical media is always going to be a better option than what you get on any streaming or digital service. Now, if you decide after watching this review and hearing my review score that you want to pre-order or buy All Quiet on the Western Front on 4K, I will have the direct Amazon link listed in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. When you click on those links, it never costs you even a penny extra. It's on sale for the same prices everywhere. But that does help to support this YouTube channel just a tiny bit. But again, like I said, clicking on those links doesn't cost you anything extra. So make sure if you decide you're wanting to buy or pre-order this after watching this review here, make sure to click on those links I've posted in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. Now, before I go into some more of my exclusive testing on this, I want to talk about the film itself here for a minute. If you've seen the film, there's a scene at the beginning of the film where it basically follows the uniforms of some of the German soldiers. That scene sets the tone and the thought process kind of behind the story, which this is based on the original novel, which is an amazing book if you haven't read that yet. But anyhow, that scene actually to me is one of the things I absolutely loved about the film. I actually have watched that scene now 4 or 5 times just because of how much I enjoy the idea behind it, setting the tone of kind of how they looked at the lives of some of these soldiers. They were very expendable and didn't really seem to matter to a lot of people. And that scene of that uniform and what it goes through getting washed and patched and then handed off to somebody else really is kind of an eye-opening scene, and I absolutely love that scene itself. This film and this 2022 version of it is one of my top 10 war films that I absolutely love. Now, if you want to know my thoughts on all of my other war films that I absolutely love on 4K, you'll want to check out my top 10 favorite war films on 4K Ultra HD. Now, that video I did here previously before this was ever announced or released, but that has a bunch of my other war films that I absolutely love, of things that are based on or loosely based on true stories. And there's a lot of really great recommendations for war films on 4K if you have not checked it out yet. There's a lot of little hidden stories and facts that I share about those films and how they're tied to actual true stories. But that's another video you're going to want to check out here on this YouTube channel after you get done watching this review. But as far as All Quiet on the Western Front goes, it does a great job of telling the story of following basically what goes on in the mind of a soldier during World War I and going to the Western Front. Now, something I get asked a lot about when I do my testing is the audio options on this. Now, I can tell you this has German Dolby Atmos, as well as English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. There's English subtitles available on all of it. There's also German subtitles, French, Spanish, Italian, plus 16 other subtitle options and audio options. But the ones I'm going to focus on here are the German Dolby Atmos and the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, because those are the two that I watched this film in twice. So I watched it first with the German Dolby Atmos mix, then right afterwards I went and watched it with the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix. Now, here's the thing. If you can deal with subtitles, which I don't have a problem with them because there's a lot of great films that are only released with English subtitles. But if you don't want them, you do get the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. It did sound really good. It had some good LFE even on the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. But here's where the real treat comes in. If you like watching things with a great Dolby Atmos mix, this has an Atmos mix that will blow you away. When I watched it first in the Atmos mix, and then I went to the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, there is a very noticeable difference. Like I said with the DTS HD, that has some good LFE, but it blows it away in the German Dolby Atmos mix. You get an amazing amount of LFE that if you really watch it and you go back to the German Dolby Atmos after you watch the DTS, you'll realize how amazing of an Atmos mix it really is. I mean, you can hear things coming over those height channels great. It moves the sound around wonderfully. There's so many great sound effects that it really implemented great in this Dolby Atmos mix. Now, comparing it to the original Netflix, I will tell you the German Dolby Atmos on this blows away the Netflix streaming version. The Netflix one really did not have great LFE in comparison to this at all, and that's how much of an upgrade the Dolby Atmos in German was on this. So if you're okay with subtitles, I mean, I know a lot of you like to move the subtitles around. Like if you have a Panasonic UB820, you can move the subtitles around, and there's the black part of the screen based on the aspect ratio, which this is presented in its original aspect ratio. They didn't cut it down or change it for this release. But you can always move the subtitles so that they're well down below that, so they don't show up in the image, basically, if you wanted to do that. That is something that I do sometimes, but it doesn't bother me. The subtitles, watching it with the German and having it in the original audio with that Atmos mix is such a treat on this release. It really is one of those high-end, near-reference quality Dolby Atmos mixes that will really knock your socks off and blow you away. How good of a job they did on this release for just the Atmos side of it as well. But again, the English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 is a very good mix as well. I really enjoyed it. I liked having the dubbed English version as an option on here. It's just that when I watched it, the difference between the two of them, I really enjoyed the Dolby Atmos German the best out of all of them. And I didn't have a problem with subtitles because that's the original language that it was filmed in anyways. Now, showing you what you get in this. You do get this in a media book. Now, I've reviewed tons of these over the years. If you haven't checked out my Great Unknown and Hidden video series, I've reviewed tons of Capelight's 4K Ultra HD releases in these media books before. There's numerous videos in that series, and I release a new video in that series about every month or so. There's tons of great 4K Ultra HD releases that a lot of people aren't aware of, and you'll want to check out some of those videos in that video series after you get done watching this. But I really like media books. One, because the actual cases that the discs go into don't come with all that greasy residue that appears in a lot of the black 4K cases. Because I've been collecting these for quite a while, I have quite a large collection of them, and they all look really nice on the bookcase lined up together. They come here obviously in English, all quiet on the Western Front. It looks like a nice book. So to me, they are a nice collectible. Now, talking about this release specifically as far as a collectible, it is a collector's limited edition set. I've seen a lot of people asking me, hey, are they going to release a standard 4K case for this later on? My understanding is it's not being planned for as of right now. Now, that doesn't mean in the future that they might release one. All I know at the present time from the studio itself is this is all that's being planned for a release right now. So I wouldn't wait if I were you, if you decide you want to buy this after watching this review, waiting for a different case. because you might end up missing out at that point. But as far as this case goes, I do like the J card that comes on it. It has a picture obviously on it of one of the actors in it. Then on the back it talks about it here. Now I will talk about some of the special features. You get audio commentaries, making of, trailers, teasers, the booklet that's included in it, a conversation with Berger, the director, and then obviously making of, Unlike an Experience, and then another interview with a historian. So there is quite a bit of special features on this that I did like. So I do collect these J cards and keep them in nice condition for these media books. So I just keep them slipped on there and then slip them in the bookcases behind me. Now, this is what it looks like without the J card on it. It is a nice book, like I said. On the back, it has another picture of the soldiers on it. Now, when you get inside here, you get your 4K Ultra HD disc first. Now, the film is rated R, and I'll touch on that. For a war film, I think it's very tastefully done. It does have strong violence and gore, not really any language to talk of in it, but it's really well done. I think they don't linger too long on anything, but showing the realism of war and kind of the shock of what things happened in it. I think it's phenomenally done as far as a film goes. This is your 4K Ultra HD disc. On your 4K disc, it is a BD100, and that makes a big difference for what I'm going to get to here in just a few minutes about some more of my exclusive testing. But there's plenty of room for the content with the audio options and the language options on this. Now you also get your book here, which is really nice, and I like these special features that they come nicely. The book is all in English. Now, like I've talked about in some of these other media books that I do in those hidden and unknown videos, a lot of the times they're in other languages. Thankfully, this one from Capelight and MPI is actually in English, and it's got pictures, and it's a really enjoyable read, especially if you like things about the history and war films and about making it. It's a very nice book. Then in the back here, you get your Blu-ray disc here, so you do get both your Blu-ray and your 4K. Now getting to some more of my testing here, I dived into the 4K Ultra HD disc and did the rough average bitrate. I can tell you after diving into this, I was really shocked and surprised. This had an extremely high and very healthy rough average bitrate of 77 megabits per second. Wow. It was surprising how healthy and how extremely high it really was. It lends to why this looks so great, has such a nice filmic look. The details and depth to the image are so nicely present on this release. You can see all of the dirt that's on his neck and his face, and when there's little bits of blood coming across the dirt and how it kind of blended to it and dripped down his face, and the dirt on his helmet and his clothes. And man, I am telling you, the details that were present in this 4K release were a really big surprise. I was hoping this was going to look good because it is one of those things that I absolutely love, war films. If you've checked out that video like I referenced earlier, my top 10 war movies on 4K Ultra HD, I am a big war movie nerd and buff. I love things about World War I, World War II, all the wars. This was one of those I was hoping was going to be one of those releases that was really stellar, and I can tell you the depth and detail in the image, the lights to darks, were very nice. Other than that small little nitpicky thing that just briefly, and I'm meaning briefly, 99% of people will never notice or even see that digital noise. And I could only really see it when I was pulling the data off of the disc, because I'm sitting there looking extremely close on a high-end monitor going through each of those. It makes a big difference doing it that way so I can see those. But when I was watching it, I really couldn't notice it at all. So that's where I'm saying it's me being extra nitpicky for all of you. The image presentation on this is absolutely stellar. And the sound, another stellar thing. That Dolby Atmos was a stellar mix. Now getting to my review score for All Quiet on the Western Front on 4K Ultra HD in this limited edition collector set. My review score for this is a phenomenal 9.7. This is a must buy. You need to click on that link I've posted down below in the description section and as a pinned comment and order your copy immediately. This is one of those releases you do not want to miss out on. And as most of you know that have followed me over the years, a lot of the times these media books sell out, they don't reprint them again. This is one of those you're not going to want to miss out, that you're going to want to add to your collection to own and watch over and over again. The film is wonderful. The story is great. Everybody needs to experience this story to see just how war sometimes really is and how it really is looked at from boots on the ground. And the cinematography in it, I can't even describe to you how great the cinematography is. If you've noticed some of those images that I pulled from the disc above, I tried to be a little bit more artsy this time and pull some of the images that are more showing off the beautiful cinematography in this, that you really sit back and see just the gorgeous way they filmed it, where it'll go from the horrors of war to the gorgeousness of everyday life, and experiencing that and realizing how beautiful life is and how really tragic and horrible war is. And it is one of those things that this film does a wonderful job of it. I will say the musical score and some of the musical cues, with how somber of the tone they are, really hit me how good they blended with this film. And if you've seen it, you know exactly what I mean. It starts off at the beginning, that like boom, 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 and man, it just hits you how it builds throughout the film. Sounds great on the audio mix on this as well. It is one of those near reference quality releases that I highly recommend. You buy, add this to your collection, experience this in the best quality it's ever been released. If you saw this on streaming on Netflix, this 4K Ultra HD release blows it out of the water. You will never want to watch it on Netflix or streaming services ever again because of the compression they had on that. When you see how much depth, detail you missed out on, I was really shocked and impressed with how much better this looked than it ever did on Netflix. That this is the way I want to experience every single thing that's released on streaming service. Get them all, Netflix, out on 4K Ultra HD. Release them this way with the high bitrate that I talked about, with the gorgeous image presentation, the great Dolby Atmos mix. Come on, Netflix. Keep releasing them this way. This is the way we need to own them. This is the absolute way. If you're a cinephile, you've got to experience this and own this on 4K Ultra HD. This is one you cannot miss out on owning. Now, if you decide you're going to buy this and add this to your collection, now that you've heard my review score, this is a phenomenal 9.7. Make sure to click on that link I've posted in the description section and as a pinned comment in the comment section below. So now I'm happy to tell you that this masterpiece is now in my top 10 war films of all time on 4K Ultra HD. And it will be in yours as well. If you haven't experienced this yet, don't go watching it on streaming. You need to see it in this because it will really surprise you how beautiful it really is of a film. And this is the best way to watch it ever. Make sure to start the conversation in the comment section below. Let me know if you saw this film originally on Netflix on streaming services. Let me know if you enjoyed the film and you're excited now to experience this brand new 4K Ultra HD release. Now, as I said at the beginning, I did get this in about 2.5 weeks early for review. So you will have to wait a little while to get your copy, but now you know what it looks like, you know what you're looking forward to experiencing, and I can tell you it is a wonderful release. And I am so thrilled because I kind of got a little nervous when I loved the film originally, hoping that it would turn out to be a great 4K release. I'm so happy this turned out as good as it did, because like I talked about recently, there have been some recent releases that were just disappointments or just okays on 4K. This is not an okay, this is a phenomenal 4K Ultra HD release, near reference quality. If you enjoy every one of these videos that I put my heart, soul, time, and hard work into, make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club. It costs you less than a couple of bucks every month, but it goes into the creation of every one of these videos. I'm not sponsored and I'm not paid by anybody. Just because a studio sends me something for review, I'm not paid to do that review. That's how I'm able to do these and keep my honest opinions and reviews at all times. I get something sent to me, but that doesn't pay the bills and that doesn't make it possible for me to keep making these videos. The only way I can always continue to create all of this content that all of you love watching is through all of you, my viewers and subscribers, support. So make sure to join my Collectors VIP Club to support the creation of these videos, or give us super thanks through the super thanks button right below this video. It's just like giving a tip. You can give $1 or $2 on each video that goes straight back into the creation of these videos, and that's how I'm able to keep creating these videos. I want to say thank you to all my VIP Club members. As always, without all of your support, I couldn't keep creating each and every one of these videos. And I just want to say thank you. You truly do mean the world to this YouTube channel. As always, I truly hope all of you have a blessed day. And I've always got something early and exclusive coming out very soon.